Here are examples of trades that this would ultimately take. This will be 1 loss, 1, 2, 3 wins. So the strategy is good and it does work. Welcome back everyone to Code for Traders. This is the Friday's video of the VWAP and 50 moving average. If you guys saw Monday's video and Wednesday's video, you will kind of have an idea on how the strategy has been performing. The strategy's strength comes more from its manual trading, which is what you will see if you manually trade, because you can do more technical analysis for it, meaning you can visually see if this is a good move versus an actual trading code or trading bot, kind of like Wednesday's video was for TradingView. Today's version will be the NinjaTrader version of that. I did do some testing already. It does not perform as I would want, but the same thing as the TradingView version. This code is set up in a way where you can modify it as much as you want to get you a winning strategy. This is the same thing as any other trend strategy. The second you have any kind of consolidation, you will be screwed. That's the same as any trend strategy. It will be the same thing everywhere. But having that said, let's actually see. So this is the actual code for the strategy itself that was added. Let me add this back on. Everything is the same. The only thing I changed was we're doing on the 1 minute. Let's do it back. This is the original strategy is on the 3 minute. That is the idea of the strategy itself. So if we run it, so here's the actual default result for the strategy. And let's see how this performs. So it actually does not perform well, unfortunately, but very similar to the Wednesday's video. But let's walk through the strategy itself again. The strategy again is, here's the VWAP, the blue line, and the 50 moving average is actually the orange line. The whole point and the logic to the strategy, if the 50 moving average is below the VWAP, what you want is the price to come down, push back up to the 50 moving average, and then the very next candle needs to be an engulfing of this candle here specifically. So that will be the perfect entry here. And then the stop loss will be a few ticks above the entry candle or the highs between the two. And the take profit will be 1.5 times the stop loss. This is a perfect trade. Same thing here. The other exception that I have is if the actual initial bar is still above the EMA, but the actual entry one closes on the other side. For me, that's also a trade. And then we can kind of keep scrolling. So the idea is still the same. There's multiple ways to actually improve this. So this is, but before I even get to that, this is pretty much the exact same code for the TradingView version. So I can walk through it again. Here's the EMA, the 50 EMA. This can be changed however you would want to perform to improve its performance. If we do 100, what would the performance be for it? Would it be better or worse? It actually did better. But if we leave it back at the 50, what I noticed the biggest improvement is actually the time frame if I were to do 15. Because it actually, there's less momentum at random moments and it does perform better. So this is where you kind of play around to get the best strategy. So this one is a basis where you can actually improve the strategy itself. Of course, there's a lot of different aspects of it that you can improve and add upon there. But yeah, it's really not doing that amazing at the moment. I was testing some out earlier. So this one actually do the 1,000, the actual risk of 1,000. These things ideally stay the same. The risk is 2, but everything else pretty much stays exactly the same, 15 minutes. So to kind of go back and walk through this again. Here's the EMA, the 50 EMA. You can change the moving average as much as you want. Here is actually the buffer for the distance between the actual like signal candle and the EMA. There are scenarios, let me see if I can find one. See, this is a good example here. this here, there was no trade here, but if I were to increase this to, let's say 200, it may actually take trades, those kind of trades. Let's see, still didn't take. I would have to increase this even more. But ideally, the more you increase this, it would potentially take this trade right here. This would be a decent trade. Yes, this would be a perfect long trade. If it would have taken, it would have lost instantly though. But that's what this controls. That controls that. Oh, and it did perform a lot better doing that. Then here's the actual stop loss buffer. That would be the actual stop loss here. Just adding it a few more ticks above it. That's what this is for. So if we were to increase it, let's say to 20, it gives it quite a big jump. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell when it's right on the line, but it does give it quite a big jump. Here's a take profit. I have it at 2 at the moment. You can do 1.5. That will most likely bring this down. Oh, it's about the same. If we do, let's say a 3, because when this trend that happens a lot. If you would rather, the win rate is not that good here with the 3. If you want to see a higher win rate, you can just do like a 1, for example. Actually, it's not that bad. It's actually not that bad. If you're risking 1,000 for 233 trades, honestly, it's not that bad. That's actually pretty good. I would prefer the profit factor to be a little higher, but it is not bad at all. Here you can change if you want to do based off contracts or actual risk per dollar. I'm doing risk per dollar here. Here's a fixed lot if you would want. This override here, sometimes depending on the symbol you're trading or the future, the price per point is a little different. If we were to turn this on, this will definitely change. So it did perform drastically better because it's MNQ. So this one is not bad to actually test as well, but you can change it manually here if you would prefer. Here's the break even rule. I added to all my codes, the break even if you want to do break even. And this is for like this whole section here is more for like prop firms, the actual stop loss and take profit pieces. This is just for the visual part, like the boxes, the actual marker, and the lines themselves. And this is just the basic NinjaTrader stuff. So this is the simple code for this strategy. Like I said, there's multiple ways to change it, to update it. Here are examples of trades that this would ultimately take. This will be 1 loss, 1, 2, 3 wins. So the strategy is good and it does work. It's just more a trend following strategy than anything else. If you guys do like this code, even though there's rooms to improve, it will be on my Etsy store. If you prefer the trading view version, that will also be on my Etsy store. If you guys have any questions, comments below. And if you have any suggestions for future strategy videos, also put comments below. Thank you again for joining me. Talk to you on Monday.